I'll bring you up. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. Glad you're here. Welcome to the Rotary Club of Gainesville Tuesday Luncheon, Cade Museum. Please remember to silence your cell phones. And now as we get started, I'll ask you to welcome Pete Inwall for the song and pledge.
Really appreciate everybody standing up for me. Can you hear me? I ran into a friend of mine the other day and hadn't seen him in a while. And so we exchanged pleasantries, you know, how you doing, this and that. And he didn't look happy. And so I asked him, I said, you look down about something. He said, yeah. He said, I'm worried about my hearing. I said, you worried about your hearing? Have you seen a doctor? He said, no, it's Thursday at 9 o'clock in front of Judge Monaco. So. We're going to sing God Bless America. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Will you join me in pledging allegiance to our flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you join me in pledging?
And he even slid in one of his jokes there. Impressive. All right, and now I'm scanning the room for Lori Vidal to lead us in our invocation. Oh, Brendan, okay, wonderful.
Hi, I am not Lori Vidal, not nearly as good looking. But he's asked me to fill in with him yet again this week, so please bow your heads. May we assemble today dedicated to selfless service, fellowship, and goodwill. Let us join together to improve our community and uphold high ethical standards and advance peace and understanding in everything we do. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Brendan. And now let's move into an introduction of visiting Rotarians and guests. If you are a guest or a visiting Rotarian, please stand to be recognized. Okay, we've got a full house of Rotary Club of Gainesville members today. So, can you hear me? Okay. We've got a guest visiting Rotarian standing anywhere. Okay, well, let's move right into announcements. And the first announcement, I believe Greg Young is going to handle a quick bowling announcement. Dana, you want to handle it? Somebody do it. whoever.
So Greg and I are double teaming the club on behalf of the Greater Gainesville Club. If you haven't heard before, on October 12th, we are promoting a bowling to strike out polio. And it's going to be a multi-club event. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's limited to 120 bowlers, but we're going to take the Splits facility. We're going to buy out the Splits facility. So we're really looking forward to that and hope you'll join us. It's going to be tons of fun and I'm sure very funny.
Okay, and now we've got Dr. Caton standing right here. Randy Caton has a quick Rotary minute for us.
Thank you. A Rotary moment. We have sponsored a trip to the Dominican Republic by the dental students. For over 20 years, the junior and senior dental students go to the Dominican Republic, about 20 of them, to a little place called Las Matas de Farfán. It's almost on the Haitian border. And I was privileged to do that trip twice. And for the first time ever, the students decided to ask different nonprofits for some support. And they asked the Rotary Club. And the board voted to give them a check for $1,000 for the trip. And that's Vanessa and Jessica, two absolutely delightful young ladies who are going to be great dentists. And I want to thank the club and the board for allowing us to do this. And they're going to come in September with pictures from their trip. Promise no blood and guts at lunch. They're actually now able to make dentures for people down there. 3D printed, very high tech. So thank you, Rotarians.
Thanks, Randy. What a great project. And now I'd like to welcome, I hope you'll join me in welcoming Miss Deborah Newell to tell us what's going on with Rotary Youth Exchange. I know that's something you might not have heard a lot about in the last few months, but we've got an update.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. This particular round, when students were sent out and abroad, there were none from Gainesville. 2 from the district. Those were both from the Jacksonville area. However, we are running full tilt now. The applications are open for the 27-28 school year for outbound students. So if you have neighbors, children, grandchildren, somebody, in your church, whatever, who might be a good candidate, please have them see myself or Ryan or Annie, and we can give them information, direct them to the website, which is also RYE 6970, that's our district.org. And they can start a student application or volunteer application. If any of you would like to volunteer to do what Ryan and Annie and I and many of others of you have done in the past, or to be a host family. It's all on that particular website, and you can go there and sign up. So you will be hearing more from us in the coming weeks and months as we get everything in order for the next school year. Thank you.
Okay, and finally, before I bring President Jay up here, we have a craft talk today. Many of you may have met new Rotarian Steve, who's kind of frequented the Hatchet Creek site, preparing for wild game feast and such. That's where I met him, but I'm going to ask Parker Lawrence to come up and introduce today's craft talk.
Thank you, David. It's my pleasure to introduce the club to Steve Kaufman. I think probably that better. Has that got it? Steve has attended many events already and pretty well known to the club, but I had the good fortune to know him when we were in a fraternity together back in the 60s. And we rode around on an American LaFrance, a 1930s American LaFrance fire truck, waving at folks. But Steve left the Gainesville, went back to New York, where he spent the next 40 years and we weren't in very close contact. But now that he's back, I'm sure glad to have him in the club. And I'd like to introduce Steve Kaufman at this time.
Thank you, Parker. I grew up in upstate New York, first in Lake Placid, then I went to high school in Plattsburgh, New York. I came to UF at the urging of my best friend, who was a military family. There was an Air Force base in Plattsburgh. He had traveled around the world, and he said we had to go to UF for the fun and sun. Just before we were ready to leave, he didn't come because he got accepted as an alternate in the Coast Guard Academy. So I came to Florida by myself. I was a lonely, homesick freshman. I'd never been south of Long Island. And here I am at a big university, and it was intimidating for a while until I joined a small fraternity and had a sense of belonging, and that's where I met Parker. Academically at school, I was a finance major. I got an MBA in finance. I went through Army ROTC, got commissioned as a second lieutenant. While I was waiting for the military to give me my orders, I went back to Plattsburgh and worked at the State University there. I worked in their long-range planning department. I taught an economics course, and I was the assistant coach of the basketball team at the State University. The Army finally caught up with me, and they assigned me to Fort Bliss in Texas in air defense artillery, where I became a battery commander, learned how to become a battery commander of a Nike Hercules missile system designed to shoot down Russian bombers. Fortunately, I never had to launch a Nike Hercules missile. After the military, I went to work for Union Carbide in New York City, which became Praxair, the Lindy division of Union Carbide. It's the industrial gas division that makes oxygen, argon, nitrogen, helium, and hydrogen, for example. And that became Praxair in 1992. But I worked in IT, marketing, and human resources. I was there for 30 years. Let's see what we got here. After I retired from Union Carbide, I had stints as a real estate agent. I was a mortgage loan salesman for a while. And for a while, I did bookkeeping and planning work for small businesses that needed help in those types of things. Starting 10 years ago, I became a snowbird. My wife and I went back and forth between Florida and New York. And then 3 years ago, we bought a house in Alachua and moved down here permanently. We had the house for 10 years and we moved down permanently 3 years ago. We got tired of hauling our 2 horses back and forth, so we decided to move down here permanently. I enjoy bicycling, kayak fishing, reading, golf once in a while, exploring northern Florida. One little story, I'll make this quick. When I was a freshman, there was an article in the Alligator inviting walk-ons to try out for the basketball team. So I thought, well, I played high school basketball in upstate New York, so I'll give it a shot. I walked into the gym and Jim McCatherine was running the practice. There was a practice going on. One side of the court had guys scrimmaging, orange and blue jerseys. It was a formal freshman team practice. And I was the only one that showed up for the tryout. And he said, why don't you get down there and shoot around. So I said, fine. So I'm there shooting around, looking down at the other end, seeing Neil Walk, Andy Owens, And I'm thinking, this is not going to work out too well. And not surprisingly, after about 10 minutes, the coach came up and said, you know, thanks for coming, but we don't need your services. So that was my cruel introduction to SEC basketball. I loved going to games and seeing Rick Barry and Pete Maravich come to town. And lastly, I joined Rotary to basically to meet people, learn about the community in a way that I never knew about it when I was here in Gainesville, because when you're going to school, you basically know University Avenue and Crescent Beach. And also to help out in the community wherever I can through Rotary. Thank you.
Steve, we are so excited to have you in our club. And any friend of Parker is a friend of ours for sure. And you know, you've already stepped in and done a bunch of things, and so we know you're a great Rotarian. We really appreciate you. And the one thing that I told Steve is that he is going to be giving the imaginary four-way test plaque, and we promise the next presentation that we will do will not be the imaginary plaque that the last two recipients have received, but they are special because they did receive the imaginary plaques. So here you go, Steve.
Thank you. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much for being here. All right. Hopefully I won't have that embarrassing moment again. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing today? You know, I don't know if you felt it, but there was a hint of fall in the air as you walked in. Did anybody else feel that? Okay. No, you're right. It was definitely hot out there. A couple things. The Shoddy Beatles performed at Woolies on Saturday. The bassist is sitting right over here, Eric Atria. And there was a whole bunch of Rotarians that showed up. We had a really good time. We were singing along to the music. What a great evening it was. So if you missed it, next time up, I would highly recommend coming. There's some flyers on your paper about the Vibrant Club event, which is coming up in Orange Park. And it's basically, again, trying to figure out what can you do to make your club more vibrant, to have it be more active, and those kind of things. So there's a flyer that kind of talks about it, talks about the agenda that's out there. It's next Saturday, the 22nd, and it's about a half-day program. So it runs, I think, till about 2 o'clock. It's in Orange Park, so it is a little bit of a drive. The cost of the program is $40, so there is some cost. But if you're interested, I'm planning on going, and would love to have anybody that would like to come along to that. The board met yesterday, and we've approved 2 new members, which is fantastic. Sarah Reed, is Sarah here? No, and Jacob Torner. Jacob's not here either. But anyways, we're so glad to have them in the club. Let's give them a round of applause. The board also provided a contribution directly to the South Sudan project that Jacob is working on. We gave $1,200 directly to that organization. As you may know, he's having an event on the 29th of this month at the Best Western, and I would encourage anybody that wants to go to buy tickets to that event. But we provided a check directly to the organization so that it would go to benefit the organization directly. And as a result of that $1,200 donation, we're basically helping 5, oh, there's Jacob sitting there, I didn't notice you were here. We're helping 5 mothers and children for a year to give them maternity care and child care, health care. So let's give ourselves a round of applause for that. That's absolutely amazing stuff. And of course, that's another example of somebody with a passion that has brought something to our club and has just done a miraculous thing in terms of what you're doing, Jacob. It's just fantastic stuff. So we applaud you for all your efforts, and anything that we can do to help, we're certainly here to help you. In addition to that, speaking of passion, Margaret Combs came to me shortly after Gordon had passed and explained to me that she was a very good friend of his, and kind of went through the scenario of what that was all about. They shared music, and she came up with an idea for another presentation that we're going to do, and her and Dana came to the club yesterday and gave the board kind of an understanding of what that means. And so we are, the club basically approved that we would establish the Gordon Hubble High School Music Award. So another award similar to the science projects and some of the other things that we do. And again, this goes to the arts, right? And it's to honor Gordon's legacy and his contributions to this club. So we're really excited about that. There'll be a committee that's going to take that on and kind of, get all the details of what that's going to look like. There's going to be some kind of a scholarship award that goes along with that. So more to come on that. Thank you, Margaret and Dana, for everything that you're doing and to bringing that forward to the board. We think that's really exciting. Another thing that we can be proud of as a club. So thank you. All right, let's see. I don't think I'm missing anything else here. I probably am. What's it? Oh, there's a poem. That was supposed to be part of the announcements. That's why I'm missing that. Okay. My bad. John, come on up.
This one's called Election Day Whoppers. The debate folks are saying whoppers, and often they're stating stoppers. But as you can see, well, they sure make me tell. The politicians are blame droppers. One useless man we need to bless. Two useless men, a law firm we'd dress. But three or more, useless for sure, is simply called a Congress. The governor, though he was a nerd, was eating. He just had his third. The rare dictionary was lost, and for him it would cost. He ended up at a loss for words. A man by the name of Ralph idiotically confused himself. But oh my bless, he's in Congress. Oh, but then I just repeated myself. Go vote.
Thank you, John. Your poems are always amazing. That's what we're going to say. And yes, remember to vote. That is your opportunity to have your voice heard. So we appreciate you, John, coming up here and sharing that with us. So with that, we're going to start our program. You're going to have to listen to me part of this meeting. We decided we were going to go back to school, and I don't know how to turn this thing on. Can you help me, maybe? I can't see anything without my glasses, and I don't have a monitor. So we're going back to school. Rotary's going back to school. So, I think for a lot of members, there's probably some confusion about all the things that we do, right? I mean, it's a huge organization. It does so much. And even the inner workings of our club itself sometimes isn't that intuitive. And, maybe we don't do the best job of kind of sharing that information. So we figured, let's go back to school and kind of get a feel for what is this club about, what is Rotary International about. And so we're going to talk about Rotary International, our club, do-goodery, which I think there's a lot of confusion about that, the foundation, which I've spoken about multiple times, and we're going to have Rebecca come up and talk about avenues of service in our committees. And of course, we're in school, so there's a pop quiz. So that's number one, is we're going to have the pop quiz, if I can get this thing to forward. Yeah, I can. So when was Rotary founded? 1905 in Chicago. Right answer. All right. How many members do we have worldwide? 1.2 million members worldwide. All right, you guys are doing good. How many clubs do we have worldwide? Lots. That's a good answer. That is definitely a good answer. Just throw a number at the wall. We got 35,000 plus clubs. And then we've got other clubs on top of that, the satellite clubs, the Rotary clubs. So we're up to 45,000 or so. How many countries are we in? Most. I love these answers. You know what? I'm going to have to give you partial credit. I mean, those are all good answers, They meet the intent of the question for sure. We're in more than 200 countries. All right. But, in the end, we're all guided by this principle, right? Service above self. That's what we're all about as an organization. So now we're going to get to go to the Club of Gainesville. Now, here's the real part of the quiz right here. So, what is the oldest club in Florida? Ah, nice. Well done. And it was established in 1912. And if you didn't know, Paul Harris actually lived and worked in Jacksonville. And there's a good story about that, and I'm trying to see if I can convince a gentleman from the Jacksonville club to come over and share that story with us. This is pretty amazing. When was the Rotary Club of Gainesville founded? You got it, Tom. That's the right answer to this one. We'll give you an A+ on that one. We are the third. 1918. Oh, did you say 17? Maybe it's 17. I think it's 18. I think I have that right. I have that right. Yeah. Who's second? That's Tampa. Tampa's the second oldest club. Yeah. Who was our first president? Of the club, Rotary Club of Gainesville. Anybody know? Oh, that's a good answer. Exactly. Albert Murphy, who was also the second president of the University of Florida. Imagine that, he's born in 1870, so that's a minute ago. What year was the first Service Above Self award given? Yeah, this is a deep cut right here. 84 to J. Wayne Wrights, who was the fifth president, and he was born on New Year's Eve for a fun fact. That's our presidents through 1961. And that 1961, that's a really significant year, because that's the year I was born. So anyways, you'll see presidents through 61 right there. Maybe it's insignificant to you, Tom, but to me it's pretty significant. So anyways, here's our presidents through 1980. You'll see some familiar names on there, some of them that are still members in our club even. And then past presidents, again, going through the year 2000. Again, you see a lot of familiar names up there. And there is our last 20 years, or 26 years, or 25 years, because this will be the next one. There's our president. So what I'd like to do is, if you are a past president of our club, if you would please stand to be recognized. That's a really good showing. Thank you all. I'm standing on a lot of shoulders, and it's just amazing the work that this club has done over the years, and each one of those presidents have brought their own flavor to the club, and we're really appreciative of all of that. So, let's see, what's next? Oh, there we go. Oh, okay, there we go. So, you get an invoice on a quarterly basis. And you probably just pay it. You may not pay a whole lot of attention to it, but it's got some really important stuff on it. So the first one is that club charitable projects line is your do-goodery money contribution. So there's about, we have about 200 members, and there's about 50 members that are not contributing currently. I'm assuming that's really an oversight more than anything else, because, again, if somebody doesn't have the wherewithal, we certainly understand that. But I think some of it is just not a whole lot of knowledge. We're going to talk about what the do-goodery money does here on the next slide, so we can talk a little bit more about that and what the importance of it is. Then we have our club dues. So the club dues basically pay for the operations of this organization. It doesn't pay for the projects that we do. Do-goodery does that. So the club dues are just keeping the lights on, they're keeping all of our stuff going, the Zoom and everything like that. That's what those club dues are paying for. They're not paying for projects that we're doing, even including things like service above self, ethics in business, the ROTC programs. The programs that we have here internally are also funded by the do-goodery money. The district dues, we can't avoid those. We got to pay those. We got to pay the district $13. And then you get charged for meals. So if you come in here and you get scanned for a meal, you're going to get charged for a meal. And if you bring a guest, you're going to get charged for the guest. And you know, the thing is we guarantee a certain number of meals. And so we're kind of guessing on what that number is, and certainly we won't be able to cover that nut. So when people come in here and they don't eat, you know, it can affect our bottom line in terms of being able to cover that nut. So if you're hungry, please remember to get your badge scanned. It does help the club when you eat here. So anyways, that's that thing there. Then we've got our RI dues. Again, we can't avoid that. And then we've got the foundation. Again, this is a donation to the Rotary International Foundation. This is one way that you can make the donation to the club. So you can donate, you know, on your quarterly statement, whatever that amount is, and it'll be automatically charged. And then we submit twice a year. We submit that money to basically fund the foundation. So I'm going to go back over, you know, what is this whole do-goodery thing that you keep hearing? Well, when you hear do-goodery, you need to be thinking about all these things: service above self, ethics, ROTC, the middle school service above self. The Rotary Exchange is funded by this. And then, of course, the other things that we're doing in the community: the Education Foundation, Rotary Scholarship, Rebuild Together. Again, you see the examples that are up here. So when you're given do-goodery money, that's the work that the club is doing, where we're able to, you know, provide dollars and impact to clubs, in addition to, you know, of course, the sweat equity that we do for a lot of these projects as well. But that funding for these things come from our do-goodery money. So again, the do-goodery money is extremely important to us. It is where we get the ability to fund projects in our community. And, you know, project requests will come in front of the board, and we'll consider those. We have a process that was recently revamped so that we're making sure that we're, you know, good stewards of the do-goodery money that's coming in. But, you know, we're basically trying to make sure that we have funds to be able to mobilize into our community. Talked about the foundation, so that's completely separate, right? That money, we can get it back locally through grants, which is what we talked about, local grants, and trying to pursue some of those. International grants as well, and we have a couple of those going on, as you know. So you see the things that are highlighted in white there, the annual fund and the Polio Plus fund. Those are the two funds that our club, if you elect to contribute on your quarterly dues statement, then they're going to get split between those two funds over the year. Now, you can go on the website, on the foundation, and elect to do any contribution that you would like to. You can have recurring contributions. The club still gets credit for that, so the club will still benefit from you doing it that way. So, you know, any way that works for anybody, in any way that they would like to contribute, you know, I just encourage you to do it the way you'd like to do it. So we are a 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club. Tony Dominich made it his mission to have a club of 200 plus members where everybody had a Paul Harris Fellow. And that was quite an achievement. Once you become a 100% Paul Harris Fellow Club, you're a Paul Harris Fellow Club forever. So that title does not get taken away from you, even though today not all of our members are Paul Harris Fellows. So that's quite an achievement that he was able to do back in 2009-10 when he was president. We were a 100% foundation giving club, not this past year, but the year before. I don't know if you remember, but there was a big push for us all to contribute something to the foundation. And in order to qualify for that, I think we have a flag up here. Maybe it's not up here today. But we have a flag that recognized the fact that we were a 100% giving club. And what that means is that every member contributed at least $25 to the foundation over the course of the year. That amounts to $6.50 per quarter. And then the average donation of the club members is $100. And we were able to meet both of those metrics back a couple years ago. So we'd like to get back to that if we can. And with that, I'm going to introduce our school teacher, Dr. Rebecca Nagy, to come up here and tell us a little bit about avenues of service and committees.
Thank you, Jay. Hi, everybody. I want to walk you through a couple of things on DacDB. So I'd like to see a show of hands of how many people actively, regularly use DacDB. That's good. That's a lot of people. So how many people know what DacDB stands for? Bill? Uh-oh. Well, you'll have to talk to Wes about that. I can't help you with that. Does anybody know what DacDB stands for? Exactly, district and club database. It totally makes sense. I've been hearing DacDB for years. I'm like, what is that? District and club database. So if there's anyone in the club, maybe one or two of our newer members who's not actively using DacDB and you haven't set up your password yet, my wonderful co-chair, Lauren Elliott, created this nice handout, which if you just ask me, I can email it to you. Nice email version of this that will tell you exactly how to get your password on DacDB. And once you have your password, you can sign in. You can ask to remember your password, and then you can get to it really quickly anytime you want to use it. So today, Brendan is going to have to click for me because our clicker won't reach all the way to the computer. So let's bring up DacDB, Brendan. Okay, that's our initial screen that you see when you go to DacDB and you click on that little button on the upper left there that says My Club. Now we're going to go down to the little tile that says Members and click on that. And what you'll see, if you want to find out somebody's email address or phone number and get in touch with a colleague from Rotary, you can find the whole list there. But Brendan, click on the one that says Member Card. Because here's something really important. If you look at Member Cards, you can see people's pictures. And if you're like me and you kind of vaguely remember somebody's name, but you're trying to put the name with the face, it's really helpful to see those pictures. So the reason I'm saying this is that so all of you who don't have your pictures on DacDB yet, please add them. So when people are trying to learn who you are and put your face and name together, they can look on these member cards, and it really helps a lot. So please do that. And again, if you have trouble, because Steve told me he was having trouble getting his picture to load on DacDB, sorry to do this to you, Wes, but Wes can help you. And I say that because I have emailed Wes about 100 times with DacDB questions, and he always has the answer just like that. And after he tells me, I think, oh, that's so obvious. Why didn't I realize that? But he's helped me learn a little bit about navigating this system. So now we're going to go back to the original members list, that long, not so pretty one. Yeah, that one. Now, if you go back over to that drop-down menu on the left, there's going to be a line that says My Club Committees. So we'll click on that. And then you see this list of all the areas of service and all the committees. So the bold, like club administration, membership, community service, those are avenues of service that are required by Rotary International. We have to do that. We have to have those areas of service. Then it's up to the individual club what committees fall under any one of those avenues of service. So if you look at the bold avenues of service, let's stick with club admin for a moment. Click on that, and you'll see who the chairs are for club admin. That's Randy Caton and Ryan Kern. So they're kind of overseeing those areas underneath club admin. Now let's go back to my committee listing. Yeah, okay, and click on, it's hard for me to see them now, attendance and greeters, please, under club admin. It's the very first one. I'm going to pick on Maria and Naomi because theirs comes up first. So if you want to find out, especially you new members, what does this committee do? Click on the name of it, and you'll get a nice little paragraph that tells you what that committee does. So if you're trying to decide which committee would work well for me and my interest and my talents that I could contribute, you can read the description. Now, I would like to ask all you committee chairs out there to look at your descriptions of your committee and see if they need to be revised or updated in any way, because that's what people are looking at to figure out if they want to join your committee or not. And you can see who the chairs are. They have beautiful pictures, so you know who they are. And there's a list of the members. Did everybody who sees their name up there know that you're on that committee? Well, you are. So I would encourage the committee chairs to look at the list. There's an easy way I'll show you in a minute to send everybody on that list an email. Hello, committee members. Do you still want to be on this committee? Are you aware that you're on my committee? Would you like to be active on my committee? If not, we'll take your name off and update the list. Or maybe some new people will want to join your committee. Okay, now we have to go back to the original list. Can we see committee sign up there? Wes is a member of the club admin committee. So this is his member portal we're using. So if you look at club admin right there, and it says attendance and greeters, that tells Wes right there, it says he's on the committee. So if you go to this list of committees and click on the sign up for committee and look down the list, you'll see everyone you're on. And you can resign if you don't want to be on it, or you'll know you're on it and you'll know who your chair is, and you can reach out to that person and say, hey, I know I'm on your committee. I haven't heard anything lately about, can I help? What should I be doing? Call on me, please. So let's try to be active on our committees, and committee chairs reach out to your committee members and try to get them to be involved if they're not already. Now, if for some reason you do need to resign from the committee, you can click resign and it'll happen just like that. Now, I want to tell you what these little icons, I guess we'll call them, mean. Let's go down to the two little icons there. That's one of. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to see. I can't see and talk. So, okay, we're going down to mentors and looking at those two little icons, which was just help me update. So the one that has like a little bust of a person with a plus by it, that means if you click join committee, let's put Wes on my committee. Just, Brendan, click join committee right there to the right, or that one down, not Craft Talk. There you go. All right, Wes just joined my committee. So if you so if you go down there to mentors, now Wes is on my committee, but he didn't really want to be on committee, so we'll let him resign. So now you can resign him from the committee. He's going to disappear. See how easy it is? Now, that other little symbol that looks like you're shaking hands, that means I'm actively seeking new members for that committee. So not only is it super easy to join with one click, because you see that little bust of a person with a plus sign, but I would like for you to join and be a mentor if you like that, idea. So the shaking hands tell us that. So again, committee chairs, take a look at your committee, see if the little icons that are there correspond to how you want it to work. Because some committees, like Amber doesn't have any little icons by hers because she's like a one-woman committee. And unless she changes her mind, she doesn't need anybody to join up for her committee. So you can tell that if you pay attention to those little icons. Now, the last thing I want to do is go back to I think we go back to the committee list, the original committee list. Okay, now, if I'm chair of the avenue of service called membership, and I want to send an email to all the people on my membership avenue of service committee, just go over to the little icon. I know you can't read it, but it says P-mail. That means personalized mail. And Brendan's going to click on that, and all of a sudden there they all are lined up, ready to get an email from me. And I can put in the subject line, instead of dear gobbledygook, I can put dear committee member and type them a message and send it, and everybody on that avenue of service group gets my email. So it's super easy. You can keep up with your committee members that way. I think that's it. Any questions? Wes. Oh, about your email. So Wes said that at noon, so it's already gone out, he sent out an email to every single member of our club with a, apparently, do you have to have a password on DacDB for this to work? You don't have to log in. So he sent you a link where you can sign up for a committee. So if you're ready to sign up for a committee, Wes has already sent you a link, and you can do that right now. And I would especially encourage my new members who haven't signed up for a committee yet to seize this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. That was very, very informative. And now we're going to have Greg Young come up and talk about fellowships and service projects.
Good afternoon. I'll make this fast. I know we're getting close on time. 2 ways to get the most out of your Rotary experience is to join in on projects and fellowships. So we have programs every week. The way you're really going to get to know people in the club is outside of the club meetings at projects and fellowships. For example, the fellowship we had this past weekend for the Shoddy Beatles, that was excellent, great time together. And there are actually other club members from other clubs that came as well. So there's 2 different types of fellowships. There's the one that we do within our club, and we want to have one of those per month. Then there's the all clubs. There's 4 clubs in Gainesville, and we all get together. It's usually at a local watering hole, so it's more of an adult type thing. But those happen on the 3rd Thursday of the month. You can plan on that, 5:30 p.m., 3rd Thursday of the month. That's all 4 clubs. You'll be getting some information on that soon. Then there's our club gatherings, and those we try to make those more family friendly, and also they're not usually held in an establishment where adult beverages are served. It's more about going somewhere that's interesting in the community where you can bring your kids, and it's more of just a fun and fellowship. For example, one of the ones that's on the agenda for this fall is a gathering out at Hatchet Creek to have a viewing party or tailgate party for one of the away games. Okay, that's an example. Another one would be that, got it right here. Oh, kayak trips being planned. Bill Stacewood's helped me with that on the Chautauqua River. So those usually take place, these types of things take place on Saturdays, but most of ours will be on Thursday evenings, not in, it won't conflict with the all clubs. Then the other way, so that's fellowships. Then you have service projects. And service projects are where we go out and do things in the community with some of the money that we might have from Do-Goodery to help, that we give our time into these, like Habitat for Humanity, Rebuilding Together. Those are actually building projects that we do. But then there's also like Backpack for Kids, or Bread of the Mighty, packing food boxes. Let's see, Seafood Spectacular and Wild Game Feast. We have prep days, getting ready for those events. So anyway, oh, there's a countdown clock. I just noticed that. That's awesome. I should have had one of those. Okay, anyway, so that's basically it. So you have the fellowships, you have the projects. Please do those, because that's how you get to be a real Rotarian in this club. So thank you, and I look forward to seeing you out at one of those.
I would like to thank both Rebecca and Greg for helping out today, and Rebecca for taking on the membership committee. She's the chair, and she's doing an outstanding job. And Greg is doing everything he possibly can, doing a great job with the fellowships and service projects. So excited about that. Let's see if I can go to my last slide here. No, there's another slide missing. There's the all important. We all gonna pat ourselves on the back here. Can't get my presentation back. 20 seconds. We're going to go over time now. How much time I got? 60 seconds? Man, I'm a fast clicker. Keep clicking. There we go. You get your diploma. Our entire club, everybody that's in attendance, on Zoom or in person, we've got our certificate of appreciation. Because of all of you attending here today, you are that much more knowledgeable about our club, about Rotary International, and you're to be commended for not sleeping through it. I even saw the people in the back, and they weren't sleeping. So we appreciate that. So Alice, again, asset limited, income constrained, employed. These are individuals that aren't looking for a hand out. They're looking for a hand up. And I think that's really something that our club is all about, is creating opportunities to pull people up, get them back on their feet, and make the world a better place. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and close out the meeting with what we're doing next week, which is Service Above Self Award. So that's going to be a really outstanding program. And then the quote of the week is, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And that's Nelson Mandela. So with that, we're going to end with the four-way test. If you can, yeah, okay, you went to that. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? We are adjourned. Oh. All right. You know what? You can impeach him. That's an impeachable offense for sure. 747. Yes. Helen Gilstrom.